Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Well, we're going to get to the kitchen in a minute.
That's right.
In fact,
We're outside.
we're outside. Now, I don't know how long this is going to last, but we've got a little break in the weather and it's going to be decent tonight. So we're
decent.
cooking outside like we like to do. Not too long ago on the show, I mentioned something about broadleaf plantain. Now, the Europeans cultivated that actually way back when. They brought it over with them. Next thing you know, they're teaching the Indians what it was good for. The Europeans had had thousands of years to figure out what worked for what.
Right.
The Native Americans also figured out what it took to get by. You know, you couldn't go to the doctor, hey,
Right.
what's up,
That's
doc?
true.
All these plants, as we look around, many of them had uses. Black-Eyed Susan, guess what they used that for?
What?
They would use that to apply to snake bites.
Oh, really?
Now, I'm not saying it was a cure,
Okay.
but that would ease the pain somehow. The roots of these things are very valuable. They would use them for earaches, for colds,
So they kind of had doctors in a way.
sort of.
You know,
they had the
they were their
medicine
own
man.
doctor, yeah.
But you know, over long periods of time, they would find out what was used for what.
Right.
So they also use these for intestinal parasites. Now,
Okay.
you don't think about people having intestinal
Right.
parasites nowadays, but when I was a kid, we talked about it in school. We all had intestinal parasites. And you asked earlier, how did you know?
Yeah,
Oh, you
you
knew.
knew, okay.
So they would take the root of that as well and make a tea out of it, and you would ingest that. And when they ate it, you couldn't have any kind of fatty foods or anything sweet
Right.
or anything like that for a while to let this thing work. So these plants, over time, were used for so many things. We're going to start really keeping our eyes open for this sort of thing, and we're going to talk about these things as we run up on them. Even ragweed, they used ragweed for food and for different things. I'm looking and exploring, and I remember the old timers, the catfish man of the woods back in West Virginia. I remember folks talking about this thing, and all this stuff is stuck up in here somewhere, and I'm kind of, as I go along, I'm going to drag this stuff out and do some research. I'm not going to say, go take Black-Eyed Susan and use them for this, that, or the other. I'm talking about the fact that they were used in primitive times for these things.
Well, I'm going to collect you up some ragweed.
Let's
yes.
not do that,
Okay.
because then you would have to use
Okay.
that to cure me. So that's one more plant that we've talked about all around us.
Those are
Cures
pretty.
for things. Those are beautiful
I put those on the counter.
and ubiquitous. They're everywhere.
That's right.
Let's go cook.
Okay.
All right. All right, I'm feeling lazy today.
Okay.
I don't feel like going over the fire, so I've got this right here in front of me.
I like that. That's
Cast
cute.
iron cooking at its finest. Over here, we've got a 10-inch going.
Is that for me?
Cooking outside. That's for you,
Thank
because
you.
know we talked today about what sounded good, and you said blueberries, and I said
like
okay,
blueberries.
all right, we could do that. Now, real quick, back to the Black-Eyed Susans. Before you go picking them up and rubbing them all over your face and sticking them in your ears, some people are allergic to the
Really?
little hairy fibers on the
Okay.
stem, so be careful.
How about
'cause
just pick them and put them in a vase? They're cute.
you could do that too.
Yeah, I like that.
There's no law against
Okay.
it that I know of. So here we are, got our 10-inch heating up. We got this heating up for our food.
Yeah, I'm
Coming
starving.
shortly for
I'm
our main
starving.
course. But you know what? I want a dessert, and you fix great desserts. And I said, let's do something simple. This is really a great recipe for the beginner. Very few ingredients.
Right.
Pop it in the bowl, cook it up,
It's amazing.
nothing to it. This is a 10-inch pan.
Right?
We're cooking at 400 degrees, so that's 17 on top, 8 on the bottom.
You're so smart.
All right, tell us how we do it.
Well, this is an easy recipe because a lot of the ingredients, it's the same amounts. Cup of this, cup of that. So we are going to actually take a cup of flour,
All right,
1 cup of sugar,
all right.
and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. I'm just going to whisk this together.
This is so simple.
It is very
and
simple.
so tasty. Yeah, you could use milk, but I like it a little thicker, and I like
Yeah,
that.
we like it
I like
thick.
that whipping cream. You know how sometimes if you have a peach cobbler, you put some bourbon in it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a little bit of sweet wine and Moscato, which I'm going to use for another recipe, and just pop
All right,
in there.
what do
and
you
give
think
it that-
about?
I'd say 1/4 cup,
Right.
just to give it just a little bit of a wang to go with the berries. Oh, I can't wait. So that's about the consistency you
That's
want.
all we need. Isn't that simple? All right, I have this butter here,
All
and you
right.
got my pan hot, so this is a 1/4 of a stick of butter.
All right, just gonna move that around a little bit.
Yep, move that around, and that's going to be what keeps it from sticking. So yeah, get it all over the bottom of that pan. Now this is our mixture. If you want to scoop that in for me, we're just going to put all that in. See how simple this is?
It's cooking already.
That's right.
400 degrees for what, 45 minutes?
45
to
minutes to
an
an hour. We'll check it in 45 and just see how it looks.
hour? All right.
All right, thank you. Now I'm going to grab my blueberries, and I have 2 cups of blueberries. And I'm just going to sprinkle those kind of over the top.
So we don't have to mix them in or anything?
No, you don't have to mix them. They're just going to kind of be right on the top here. I have another 1/4 cup of sugar. that we're going to sprinkle over the top of this, and that's going to cook. Be
Just like
delicious.
this.
Yes. What do you think?
I'm digging it.
All right, that's it. We're done.
All right. Not to give away all our secrets, but we are having fish tonight.
I love fish.
I love fish. You know, we haven't had catfish in a long time.
We haven't.
And I have been known in the past to catch some catfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You know who went with me one time to catch some catfish?
Who?
Kelly.
Did she really? Did she catch any?
Yeah, we were jug fishing,
Okay.
which is a fun way to fish. And over the years, we've caught a lot of catfish and enjoy eating them.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a little blackened seasoning tonight for our enjoyment.
Okay.
We're not going to blacken the catfish per se, but we're going to have some blackened seasoning
Okay.
with the cornmeal. Do you know how blackened seasoning came around?
How?
You're going to find this hard to believe. But when Glenn was a young man, before he was the pepper bandit.
Oh, really?
Now, what's funny is about Glenn, his head was the same size, but his body was smaller, and he had huge feet.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, he had his cowboy boots on and black. He was just head exactly the same.
The big feet.
Small body, big feet.
Really?
When he blackened fish, you know why they called it blackened fish?
Why?
It was totally black with black pepper.
Really?
Yes. When he ran out of black pepper, he had to go rob the pepper train.
Did he?
Now he did this.
That's
He
shame.
shook his rattle at the train.
Shamey on him.
He threw it at the conductor. They stopped the train. Pulled most of the pepper off. That's when the whole pepper bandit
Really?
thing started.
I didn't know that.
So
So
it
he's been
started.
doing this. He's been at this for a
So
long time.
That's how blackened fish originally started.
Okay, wow.
So what we're going to do for our side of our catfish that's laying there is we're going to take this, we're going to cut this up into pretty good sized pieces. It'll cook down. And we're going to throw that into our already hot pan. I'm going to go ahead and put some olive oil in here.
All right.
So what we're going to do, Mrs. Farmer, is into our hot skillet,
I'll give
we're
you
going to
those.
throw some bacon, some onion, and some garlic. All right, we're going to take a little bit of garlic. I remember as a kid watching Justin Wilson cut that onion.
Did he?
Onion. He had those Louisiana recipes, and this is
Yeah.
something, I saw him make something like this years and years ago. It stuck out in my mind. I got some okra cut up. Know what's the great thing about cutting stuff up outside?
Feed it to the animals.
Throw it over your shoulder.
Squirrels.
See where it lands. I love okra.
I do too.
You know what? If you haven't tried okra, you tried it as a kid, you didn't like it, which is the case with me. As you get older, your taste buds become more advanced.
And you like
You
stuff.
become liking things that you didn't before. It's got a subtle, wonderful flavor that I can't even explain. So, Mrs. Farmer, if you will, take about 2 of those tomatoes and just basically dice them.
Dice them up for
Yep,
you.
dice them. Can you smell that,
I
Mrs.
can.
Farmer?
It smells delicious. I could eat just that.
So we're going to saute these till our onions become translucent. A little bit brown around the edges. And the bacon's done. Isn't that colorful, Mrs. Farmer?
Very pretty. Christmassy.
Christmassy. You know what? Christmas is right around the
I
corner.
know it is.
You know, Christmas is coming.
The goose is getting fat.
Please put a penny in the old man's hat.
If you don't know penny,
A half a penny will do.
if you have no hat penny,
Then
then
wow.
God bless you. That's a song we used to sing in school, did you?
That's right.
As we came in for our Christmas concert, we sang that always.
Oh, we did too.
And on the way out, too.
Can you sing a little bit for us right now?
Not right now, because I didn't have enough food.
Yeah, I was so excited. I thought I was going to get to hear a little concert. You know what, Mrs. Farmer? Let's put about half of that okra in here.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yum.
the smell you're getting ready to smell is going to be fantastic. Let's put the fresh
Tomatoes.
tomatoes in here.
Yummy. Now, this is our side.
This is our side. I
Okay.
wanted something different. You know,
Yeah.
everybody does the same thing. And I thought, you know what? What would Justin Wilson do? This is right up his alley here. All right, now I'll tell you what let's do, Mrs. Farmer.
Okay.
Take me a little bit of that Moscato there.
Okay.
Any kind of sweet wine will work. If you want a Moscato, if you want a Riesling, it's not as sweet. This is gonna give it a nice flavor.
Yum.
I'd say I probably put about a half a cup in there.
Wine always
Let
makes
that
it good,
cook
doesn't
then.
it? Wine always adds.
Now I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I need a little bit of Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
Worcestershire sauce, people say it in many different ways. We're gonna put a tad of that in. You know what else we need?
What?
We need some hot sauce.
We do, don't we?
I'm gonna take a dash of that. Good healthy dash.
That's a lot of dash.
I'll salt that up a bit. Now everything's kind of coming together. All right, let's let that cook down. Now, as that's cooking,
I gotta check well.
scooch this over because I'm getting ready to heat this skillet up. Put some oil in here and just slide that over. Get this good and hot because we're gonna fry some fish. We're bringing up all my favorite chefs from the old days I used to watch. Remember Paul Prudhomme?
I do.
He left the world his blackened seasoning. He was the man.
Yeah.
He was the man that really brought the, the red drum, the red fish down there.
Yeah.
People considered that a junk fish at one time. Then he brought this blackened seasoning, started putting it on these, at one time, junk fish.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted black and red fish. In fact, they had to start putting limitations on the number of fish that were caught. That's the impact a really good chef can have. And he left his seasoning out there for the world to know. Here's Paul Prudhomme's blackened seasoning. 1 tablespoon sweet paprika, 2.5 tablespoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 3/4 teaspoon white pepper, 3/4 teaspoon black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves, and 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano leaves. So I'm going to take some of this blackened seasoning, and I'm going to take some of this and put on the fish before I put it in the cornmeal. Go ahead and put some in the cornmeal
too?
Yep. I want to make sure we get some of that in there. I don't want to be overwhelmed with it, but I want to have that nice taste.
I don't like catfish. Catfish is good.
Oh, I love catfish.
Delicious.
You got to get it fresh though.
Yeah.
Gotta have it fresh. When we see our oil getting right, shimmery, as you might say, you know it's getting hot. You can take just a little bit of cornmeal and flick in there. Getting close. Do you smell that?
It smells delicious.
Smell your veggies getting ready. Now remember, everything's timing. We want this to be done, and this to almost be done so we can eat. All right, now we're gonna dip it in the cornmeal, which has a little bit of that seasoning as well.
Yum. That's just cornmeal, right?
Just
With
cornmeal,
your seasoning.
Just a little bit of seasoning in there. You ready, Miss Farmer?
That looks amazing. Yes, I am.
You want to go first? Go
I want
ahead.
to try the fish.
Now remember, I went a little heavy on the cayenne.
That's delicious.
And then
I could eat this every day. You made that quick.
Yeah. The crunch.
Yum. I like your veggies too. I just had a piece of bacon. Wow.
Mmm.
Yum.
Isn't that different?
The okra's really good too. Tomatoes, yum. That's good. That's too big a piece. I'm about to chew it. You did good. This is really good.
Sometimes you just got to have some catfish.
And that was simple. That was delicious.
And I put a little bit more cayenne than it called for.
But I like it.
You taste the white pepper in there
You don't
too?
need anything else on that. It's delicious.
It's got a nice warm burn, but not a burn.
You did good.
Oh, I love these vegetables. Different. Got a little Cajun thing
Really
going
good.
here tonight. All right, Miss Farmer, how'd you like your dinner?
I loved my dinner.
Oh, you know what I almost forgot? Sitting right over there.
How can you forget dessert?
I can't forget it.
We got to cool off from this hot dinner with
Let's
some
cool
dessert.
off. Now, it's going to be right there when we need it, but let's
All
go
right.
ahead and try our dessert real
Okay.
quick. Just because we probably ought to put some ice cream in there, which we did. And if you'll hand me that big spoon.
We had ice cream. We don't usually have ice cream.
No.
But the kids have been over.
But if you have blueberry cobbler,
Oh, wow.
do you not need a big scoop of
You
ice
gotta
cream
have
with
ice
it?
cream. Oh, yum.
Look at that.
That looks so good.
All right. Oh, are you kidding me? I was in the mood for blueberries tonight.
You can have a little ice cream with it.
I'm wrestling.
That is delicious. And one more little bite. What do you think?
And it's delicious.
Oh, wow.
I can taste that one in
Oh,
there
my
just a little bit, gives it a
goodness.
tang.
That added. That's really good.
You know what? That was so simple. Did you see how
That
easy that
was.
was?
Gotta
For
remember
you
that.
beginners in the cast iron world, if you want to make a cobbler, I don't know if there's anything more simple than that.
Right.
Just dump everything in, put it on the fire,
Oh, yeah.
come back and check the time, and boom, you're good to go.
Delicious.
You know what? I gotta have one more bite.
Me too.
You know, for those of you out there who think it's hard to cook, I don't know how much easier that can get.
Yeah, that was simple.
And I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's put the cameras away. Let's eat this stuff.
Okay.
And then maybe tomorrow we'll take a walk. I'm gonna make you some tea out of something I found in the woods.
Okay.
You like your
Sounds good.
tea?
I do
right?
like tea.
I'm gonna make you something really good. All right, we talked about our Spicebush tea.
That's right.
You know what, as a kid, so many folks, old timers and Dad, would show me stuff. And Dad was much younger than I am now. I used to help him survey. He was a land surveyor, amongst other things. He had many jobs. But I remember going through the woods and hollers of Mason County and around that area along the river, and Dad would say, this is that, and he'd bring home a snake. You know, I'd say, hey, this is a hog-nosed snake. Then he'd bring home something for me to smell or see, and all that stuff is back in there. And the other day when we were walking, doing our exercise through the woods, I stopped at that plant that I'd seen so many times, and I remember Dad smashing it up, and that stuff stays in there.
You know a lot of that. That's good.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's neat.
I mean, because I've been surrounded by such wonderful people who know the outdoors, and the fish and wildlife, surrounded by people who know nature. So let's go show folks what a spicebush is. They're here and there and everywhere. They have leaves that can be used. The twigs can be used. The berries can actually be used. You can take them. They got one little seed. It's a little red berry. Yeah, the critters get them pretty quick.
Yeah.
They don't have much taste per se, but if you take them and you dry them, you take that little seed out and you dry them, you can use that for allspice.
Really?
The Native Americans and the Europeans, when they came in and started using this, the settlers, the colonists, absolutely loved to make a tea out of spicebush. Now, when things are scarce, you start going around and you find these aromatic things such as sassafras and such as spicebush. So I can imagine those early conversations, hey, try this. And before long, everybody was using spicebush for tea. I think we're included in the everybody clan, aren't we?
We are.
You want to go get some?
I would like some tea.
All right, let's go do it. All right, you see this, Nikki? You see the alternating leaf pattern? See one and one and one and one as we go down? Now, you can tell that somebody else likes to eat these besides us. Look at
Yes, I do.
Look at all the bite marks, the bug marks.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna go for today, now it's late in the season. These leaves, you don't want anything bitter. But take this and squash it up. I'll never forget the first time Dad did
wow.
that.
That smells
Isn't
good.
that aromatic?
Yeah.
Okay, what we're gonna do, Nikki, is we're just gonna take a couple
And some good ones?
twigs. Now we're not going for the leaves, we're going for the twigs.
Okay. Oh.
We're gonna make a tea. And listen, I don't want the branch, see back here where it's kind of gray? I want to come on down where it's brown or green.
So we're not using the leaves for the
Not
tea?
using the leaves.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take these back.
All right.
Now, we used to chew on these as a kid, a little pick-me-up while going through the woods. They say that you can use this to boil this down for intestinal parasites.
Really?
If you got some worms, have some tea.
Make you some tea.
Now this is about enough to make a small batch of tea. We're gonna make a cup of tea.
Okay.
This is about all we need. And man, it smells good. Now those twigs are gonna be very aromatic. You don't wanna bring it to a big boil because it can make it a bit bitter.
Okay.
We're just gonna bring the water really to a slow boil, about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna put it in the cup and let it steep for another 5 minutes.
Okay.
Then we're gonna put some honey in it and drink it.
Yeah,
How
I'm
about
ready.
that? You ready? So, we're back here on the patio. All we're gonna do, Mrs. Farman, you know what? There might be a few bugs on here, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's just take the leaves off. Just
Okay.
strip the leaves off. Because we're looking for the twigs here. Now, if they're a little bit green, that's fine. If you see those little buds on there,
Yeah.
those are fine. Those won't hurt
So you just
a
want
thing.
this?
Yeah. But today, we're just going for the twigs. All right, so the next thing, Mrs. Farmer, is we're just gonna cut these up in small pieces. All right, so we're just gonna take those and plop them in here.
They actually smell good already.
There's
Just
probably, I don't know, if you had to measure these, maybe 2 teaspoons, 2 heaping teaspoons if you really cut them up.
Yeah.
Now, almost instantly you can smell that.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to, you could have some cheesecloth here and strain that through, but you know what? I'm not too worried about a little bit of bug protein. Now, as a kid, I would make teas out of sassafras, and some people are saying sassafras has some things in it that might not be so good for you. So keep that in mind, do your research. Spicebush, sassafras, I even would use some berries from a cedar tree. And take some cedar, boil it all up, and you talk about smelling good. And I would take that and I would pour that in a spray container, and before I went out deer hunting, I would spray that on my clothes. Now I'd make sure there's an area that had sassafras and spicebush and cedar. And you talk about a really good smelling thing, and instead of buying something over the counter, I would take this and spray on my clothes, and they really had that smell.
Right.
And that's not anything that's foreign to a deer or anybody else.
You're a smart kid. I'm impressed.
It worked. You know what? I got a lot of deer like that when I was bow hunting. You don't want your scent to get out there. All right, now Mrs. Farmer, if you want to take that wooden spoon, just kind of hold that back.
Right.
Let the bugs come on out because we need a little protein there.
And smell it.
Now smell that. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that almost smells like a fancy schmancy tea.
Yeah.
Now what we're going to do, taste it without the honey, then I want you to taste it with.
That's pretty good.
Take care of your worms.
Yeah. Would it?
You know, people joke about worms, but you know, in Kentucky, in the 60s and 70s, when kids were outside and crawling around the woods, all of us kids had intestinal parasites.
Really?
Yeah,
it's not good.
Fun. Isn't that nice?
That is good.
Now, we're going to take just a little bit.
Sweeten it up.
Now, obviously, just a little bit of honey and put in there. Obviously, the more flavor you want, if you wanted a really strong tea, you could let it set a little bit longer. You let it cook a little bit longer. Put a lot more stems in there. That is nice. That's almost like a designer tea you would go out and get somewhere.
I'm ready for the holidays.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Does it a little allspicy
I like
tea?
it, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
What do you think?
I'm impressed. Really, it's really good.
It's just right there in the woods, sitting there looking at us. You know what? So many times, even I, as much knowledge as I've gathered from these old timers, I just, right now, what am I looking at? I'm looking at grapes and grape leaves.
Right.
Found some ginseng the other day. I'm not telling anybody where.
You know, my grandfather did that. He always was in the woods picking and making stuff.
You found ginseng?
Everything, yes. But he'd make soups and teas, and everything was from what's in the woods.
Oh, yeah. One more cup, and I'll be over the worms.
Okay.
You know what? That's a simple recipe.
That was very simple.
Some of the recipes are not quite as simple as that, but if you wanted them, where would you get them, Mrs. Farmer?
I go to timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
You would not.
I do all the time.
timfarmerscountrykitchen.com. Recipes, how-tos, all kinds of fun stuff. And when you get to us on YouTube, just hit subscribe. Then whenever a new video comes out, you'll be notified.
That's right.
And we would love to have you as our Facebook friend, but it's terribly difficult to get on there. Is it not? What all do you have to do? How many steps is there?
Well, you have to hit like.
That's it.
2 steps. Hit
Come
like.
be our Facebook friend. We talk on there. We share recipes. We tell everybody when it's our birthday and anniversary and all kinds of fun stuff. So, Mrs. Farmer, believe it or not, a half hour's up. Isn't that some wonderful tea?
That is wonderful.
Even though it's like going to be 170,000 degrees out today.
I'm taking it in the house in the air conditioning.
It's a nice little pick-me-up.
It is nice.
It's all about
good times,
good friends,
and really good eats.
We'll see you next week.